Hello students, welcome to the course on analog and digital communication system, and the course code is EC501. Myself Dr. Surojit Bosak, Assistant Professor of EC Department, Guru Nanak Institute of Technology, Kolkata. Today we are starting lecture number 2 from the third module, that is pulse modulation. In the last class, we have discussed on pulse code modulation, which is a combination of sampling, quantizing, and encoding. We have already discussed about the process of sampling and quantization, and we already discussed about some basic introduction of PCM, that is pulse code modulation. So let us start from PCM today. In PCM, the message signal is sampled and the amplitude of each sample is approximated to the nearest one of a finite set of discrete labels. Let us consider that xt is a message signal whose voltage range is divided by -4 to +4 label, following the principle of quantization. And in between this, and each have a step size, say 1 volt. And in between this, there is another label, which is a quantization label. And the quantization labels are here -3.5, -2.5, -1.5, -0.5, +0.5, 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5. This is the quantization label in volt. Now, each quantization label we denote, for each quantization label we denote a code number. From total 8 number of quantization labels are present. So we start from 0 to 7. So -3.5 is denoted as 0. -2.5 is denoted as 1 code number. -1.5 is denoted at 2. Then following 3.5 quantization label is denoted as 7. Now, so this is all about the quantization level. Now, first we take the sample. So first sample, we take the sample here. The first sample is here. Second sample here. Third sample is here. Fourth sample, fifth, sixth, and seventh. So the sample value for the first sample is, say it is 1 and below 1.5. Say it is 1.3. And the second sample value, exact value is say 3.6. Third sample value 2.3. Fourth sample value 0.7. Fifth is -0.7. Then -2.4 and -3.4. Then following quantization theory, each sample follow one of the nearest quantization level. So according to that, 1.3, that is the first sample value, is approximated as 1.5 because 1.5 is nearest quantization level. Then according to following second sample, 3.6, whose nearest quantization level is 3.5. So quantized sample value, second sample is 3.5. Accordingly, 2.3 is approximated as 2.5. 0.7 is approximated as 0.5, minus 0.7 is approximated as minus 0.5, minus 2.4, minus 2.5, and finally minus 3.4, whose nearest quantization level value is minus 3.5. So then third is the assigned code number. So 1.5 here, assigned code number for the quantization level 1.5 is 5. So right, for 1.5 it is 5. Similarly for 3.5 it is 7. For 2.5 it is 6. For 0.5 it is 4. Minus 0.5 it is 3. Minus 2.5 it is 1, and minus 3.5 the code number is 0. So 0 to 7 are the code numbers. So binary 3 bits are sufficient to represent this code number. So binary representation of 5 is 101, then 7 111, then 6 110, then 4 100, then 3 011, then 1 is 011, and then 0 again 000. So in PCM, actually we are transmitting the analog signal. We should not but we should not transmit the sample value. If we are transmitting the quantized signal, we would transmit the quantized sample value. In binary PCM, we just transmit the binary sequence, electrical signals of the binary sequence. We need not transmit the whole signals. So for 101, the first signal is 1, then 0, then 1. Then a space is required to identify the two samples value. Then 111, then again 111, 3 high signals. Then 110, 11, then 1 low signal. Then 100, 1, then 2 zeros. Then 011, so first 0, no signals. Then 1, 1, then 001, so first 00, 200, no signal. Then again 1, and then finally come 3 zeros. So we can transmit the signals for the sample value, or better to say nearest quantized sample value, electrical representation of nearest quantized sample value. We need not transmit the whole signals. So accumulated noise in this PCM signal must be low. So this is the process in which we can transmit the quantized sample value. So this process is called pulse code modulation. Next is the PCM transmitter. In PCM transmitter, first is the source of continuous time message signal. Then it should go for the low pass filter, where we can get a band limited signal whose cutoff frequency FC is equal to FM. Then it go for sampler, for sampling, where the sampling frequency is Fs. Then it will go for the quantizer, general quantizer, say n-bit general quantizer X, and from quantizer output we get say XQ NTS, and after that it goes to the encoder. Now in encoder, the input is serial, but the output from the encoder is parallel. So where V digits are required to represent the binary representation actually. Then the PCM output is actually serial. So a parallel to serial converter is required which convert parallel input to the serial output. So this is all about PCM transmitter. Now go to the PCM, move to the PCM receiver. In PCM receiver, the input signal is incoming PCM signal plus noise signal. So first it goes to the regenerator or repeater where the noise part is rejected and we can get a clean PCM signal, noise free. Now a D2A converter, digital to analog converter is required, but the D2A converter, the input of the D2A converter is parallel, so a serial to parallel converter is required in between this. And after D2A converter, so the signal is in analog form, then a sample and hold circuit is required, just reverse of the transmitter circuit. Then a low pass filter whose cutoff frequency is FM, and we get the XT input signal. And remember that here the frequency for parallel to serial converter and the regenerator is FS, that is the sampling frequency. Next is the transmission bandwidth calculation for a PCM system. What is the bandwidth of a PCM system? Let us assume that the quantizer uses V number of binary digits to represent each quantization label. Therefore, the number of labels, quantization labels, that may be represented by these V digits is Q, say Q is equal to 2 to the power V. So the number of bits per sample is V, actually we can say that V is the number of bits per sample, and number of samples per second actually is your sampling frequency Fs. Fs is the number of samples per second. So what is the bit rate or number of bits transmitted per second, which is calculated by number of bits per sample into number of samples per second. So number of bits per second, which is actually bit rate or signaling rate, which is denoted as R. So R is equal to number of bits per sample. Number of bits per sample is actually your V, and number of samples per second, which is nothing but the sampling frequency. So signaling rate R is equal to V into Fs. We know that bandwidth for PCM or bandwidth is equal to greater than or is equal to half of bit rate or signaling rate. So it is bandwidth is greater than or is equal to half into R is equal to V into Fs. So here half into VFS. Then we know that from the sampling frequency that Fs should be greater than or is equal to twice Fm. So 2 Fm, so 2 to cancel. So bandwidth greater than or is equal to V into Fm. So this is very much important, and many numerical problems come from this expression. Okay, please remember that equation, that is bandwidth for PCM is greater than or is equal to V into Fm. Next is the signal to quantization noise ratio for linear quantization. How one can calculate the SNR actually, signal to noise ratio. Noise means nothing here, the quantization noise. So SNR, S by N, is normalized signal power by normalized noise power. Noise power here nothing but we consider only the here the quantization noise. So SNR is equal to normalized signal power by what we know that the quantization noise is, we have already calculated in the last class that the quantization noise is del square by 12, where del is the step size. So we put here the value of the quantization noise. Now we know that the number of bits V and quantization levels is Q equal to 2 to the power V. Now let us assume that input XNTS, that is the nth sample, XNTS to a linear quantizer has continuous amplitude in the range minus X max to plus X max. Therefore, the total amplitude range is 2X max, X max minus of X max. So it is the total amplitude or peak to peak range. Therefore, the step size delta is defined as 2X max by Q. Q is the number of quantization levels. So 2X max by 2 to the power V. Therefore, signal to noise ratio is normalized signal power by 2X max by 2 to the power V whole square into 1 by 12. Just put the value of del square from here, and if we assume that P is the normalized signal power, then SNR will be P by 4X max square by 2 to the power 2V, just simplified it into 1 by 12. So which is 3P 2 to the power 2V by X max square. So this expression again very much important for numerical problems. This expression shows that signal to noise power or SNR, signal to noise power ratio or SNR of quantizer increases exponentially with increasing bit per sample. We now calculate the SNR in dB. So we already formulated from the earlier part that SNR is equal to 3p by x max square into 2 to the power 2v. So assume that if xt is normalized, that means x max is equal to 1. So SNR is 3 into 2 to the power 2v into p. Now if the destination signal power p is again normalized, that means p less than or is equal to 1. In that case, SNR less than or is equal to 3 into 2 to the power 2v. Now SNR calculation in dB, SNR in dB is 10 log 10 SNR in dB, which is less than or is equal to 10 log 10 into SNR. SNR means 3 into 2 to the power 2v. So which is actually 4.8 plus 6v in dB. So again, this expression is very much important. Next is the quantizer. We know that there are all we have discussed till now that they are uniform quantizer. That means step size remains same throughout the input range, or its characteristics is linear. Another type of quantization is present, which is non-uniform quantization. That means here step size is not constant. Instead, if it is variable, and it depends on the amplitude of input signal. And obviously, the quantization characteristics is non-linear. Then the quantization is known as non-uniform quantization. And the uniform quantization, again, two types. One is mid-rate and other is mid-rise. Just give the first is the example of mid-rise type of uniform quantization, and figure 2 represent the mid-rate type of uniform quantization. Now the most important is the non-uniform quantization. Now what is non-uniform quantization? The non-uniform quantization, that means whose characteristics is non-linear and whose step size is not fixed. It is variable and depends on the amplitude or slope of the input signal. So non-uniform quantization practically achieved through a process which is called companding. It is a very much important term, companding. Companding is nothing but non-uniform quantization. So the first question arises in our mind, why we should go for non-uniform quantization or why we should go for companding? What are the extra advantages of using companding? So companding basically a non-uniform quantization. It is required to be implemented to improve the signal to quantization noise ratio of weak signals. We know that the quantization noise is basically del square by 12, or in some books it is written as step size is denoted as say S, so it is S square by 12. So in case of uniform quantization, once the step size is fixed, the quantization noise power remains constant. However, the signal power is not constant. It is proportional to the square of the signal amplitude. Hence, signal power will be small for weak signals, but the quantization noise power is constant. Therefore, the signal to quantization noise ratio for the weak signal is very poor. These will affect the quality of signal. Then what is the remedy? What is the solution? Solution is compending. So to improve the SNR of weak signals, actually compending is used. And compending is a term which is derived from the two words. One is compressing and other is expanding. In practice, it is difficult to implement the non-uniform quantization because it is known in advance about the changes in the signal level. Therefore, a particular method is used or the weak signals are amplified and strong signals are attenuated before applying them to a uniform quantizer. This process is called compression, and the reverse process is called the expander. So non-uniform quantization is actually nothing. First, it should go for compression, then uniform quantizer, then it goes to the expander. And the compression and expander function are just reverse. If here the signal is amplified in the compression, then the function of expander is signal is attenuate. And if for the weak signal, compressor, the function of compressor is attenuate the signal, and the expander just reverse, it will amplify the signal. Okay. Now, next is the characteristics, compender characteristics. Compressor provides a higher gain to the weak signal and smaller gain to the strong signal or strong input signal. And expander characteristics is exactly the inverse of the compressor characteristics. See here, the red line indicates the compressor characteristics. Here it is amplified, and in that part it is attenuated, red line. And blue line, if it is expander, then here the blue line, again the expansion. Just the reverse function. If compressor is amplified, then expander is attenuated, blue line. Here in the second case, compressor is attenuated, then expander is amplified. And the straight line indicates that all the boosted signals are brought back to their original amplitude. Now, different types of compressor characteristics. Ideally, we need a linear compressor characteristics for small amplitude of the input signal and logarithmic characteristics elsewhere. In practice, this is achieved by using following the two methods. One is called mu law compounding and other is called A law compounding. In mu law, the compression characteristics is approximately linear for small values of input levels and logarithmic for high input levels, where the expression is ln W2 is the compression characteristics for mu law, ln 1 plus mu W1T by ln 1 plus mu, where W1T represent the normalized value of the input with respect to the maximum value, and the maximum value of mu is 255. Say it starts from mu equal to 0 and the maximum value, minimum value 0 and maximum value 255. So initially say mu equal to 0, mu equal to 1, it say initially the curve is straight line, and as far as mu is increasing, the curve nature is almost logarithmic. Now go for the A law compounding. In the A law compounding, the compression characteristics made up of a linear segment for low level inputs and a logarithmic segment for high level input. So it starts from A equal to 1 and the maximum value is here 87.656 actually. And the expression is, say W2 is equal to, it has two parts. One part is when W1T belongs to 0 to 1 by A, then it will be A W1T by 1 plus ln A. And the second part, when W1T belongs to 1 by A to 1, then the second part is 1 plus ln A W1T by 1 plus ln A. And already I described, already I told about W1T. It is same as for mu law and A law, which is actually the normalized value of the input with respect to the maximum value. Say it is X max. Okay, so these two are the compression characteristics using this rule, that is mu law and A law. Using this law, actually these law are established in North America and Japan, and using this law the compression characteristics are defined. Okay, then is the application of pulse code modulation. In telephony, PCM is used. In digital audio recording, CD laser discs, voicemail, digital video, space communication. Another important application of PCM is space communication. Spacecraft, in space communication, spacecraft transmit signals to Earth. Here the transmitted power is very low and the distance are huge. Still, due to high noise immunity, only PCM system can be used in such application. Next is the advantage of and disadvantages of PCM. PCM provides robustness to noise and interference. That means PCM provides high noise immunity. We can store the PCM signal due to its digital nature. we can use various coding techniques so that only the desired person can decode the received signal. Due to digital nature of the signal, we can place repeaters between the transmitter and the receiver. And the drawbacks. PCM needs a large bandwidth as compared to other systems. And the encoding, decoding circuit and quantization circuits are complex. So in that circuit, it needs some synchronization is needed. So which is the main disadvantage of PCM? So for a communication engineer, we always want to reduce the noise, our main criteria. So in this case, the noise is a square by 12 or del square by 12, where S or del is the step size. So if we want to reduce the noise or quantization noise, then step size should be reduced. So in that case, number of quantization levels should be large. So if the quantization, large number of quantization levels are present, then alternatively, number of bits required to represent each quantization level, that is V, represented by V actually, which is again large. So the bandwidth again will be large. So if we want to reduce the quantization noise, then bandwidth will be large, which is not our expectation. So what is the solution? How this problem actually solved? Now this problem is solved by a process which is called delta modulation. How? Delta modulation transmits 1 bit per sample. It always transmits 1 bit per sample, no matter how many numbers of quantization levels are present. So here the present sample value is compared with the previous sample value, and this result, whether the amplitude is increased or decreased, is transmitted. See the figure here. First one is say 0 because in the last case it is lower. If the present sample value is higher than the previous sample value, then binary 1 is transmitted. And if the present sample value is lower than the previous sample value, then binary 0 is transmitted. So that is the rule for delta modulation. Again, I am repeating here, present sample value is always compared with the previous sample value. How it is compared? If the present sample value is higher than the previous sample value, then binary 1 is transmitted. And if the present sample value is lower than the previous sample value, then binary 0 is transmitted. So the first sample is lower than the previous sample, say, then binary 0 is transmitted. Then the next sample is higher than the previous. Then binary 1 is transmitted. Then the next sample is again higher than the previous sample value. Then 1 transmitted. So correspondingly, these are 1. Then again here is 0 because the present sample value here is lower than the previous sample value. Similarly, 1 and 0 are transmitting. So the bandwidth of delta modulation is, in case of PCM, the bandwidth was V into FM, but here the bandwidth is always FM. It doesn't depend on V. Actually, this is the quantized signal, and following an XT, say it is XT, and this is the quantized signal, and already we know how quantization process is occurred. So next is the delta modulation transmitter. So delta modulation always transmit 1 bit per sample. So this is the transmitter circuit of delta modulator. Here the present sample value is XNTS. Remember that the present sample value here is XNTS and the previous sample value is X cap NTS, X cap here. So first it goes to a adder circuit or subtractor, plus minus. Then an error signal is generated, which is denoted as ENTS. Then it will go to the 1-bit quantizer. And output of the 1-bit quantizer is BNTS. And from that, here is a accumulator circuit actually. So here UNTS, which is delayed by a bit interval TS, and it will go UN minus TS. So ENTS is the error signal, that is the XNTS minus X cap NTS. Again, I am repeating that XNTS is the present sample value and X cap NTS is the previous sample value. Then BNTS. What is the value of BNTS? BNTS is equal to delta into sign. Sign means whether it is plus or minus. ENTS. Now, how plus or minus delta is transmitted? The rule is BNTS is plus delta if XNTS greater than X cap NTS. That means the present sample value is higher than the previous sample value. And if the present sample value is lower than the previous sample value, then minus, it will transmit -1. So minus delta, BNTS is minus delta. So BNTS is plus delta, actually then binary 1 is transmitted. So the same theory, if the present sample value is higher than the previous sample value, then +1 is transmitted and step size is increased by plus delta. And if the present sample value is lower than the previous sample value, then binary 0 is transmitted and step size is decreased by an amount of minus delta. Then UNTS. So UNTS is basically UN minus 1 TS plus BNTS. So BNTS is either plus delta or minus delta, depending on the previous sample value. So UNTS is here actually the accumulator section either plus delta step size is increased or decreased. So un minus 1 ts plus minus delta. So UNTS is equal to UN minus 1 TS plus BNTS. So whether if present sample value is higher than the previous sample value, then from the DM output it transmits binary 1, and here it adds by an amount plus delta, that is the step size is increased by the previous sample value. That is the logic of delta modulation. And if the present sample value is lower than the previous sample value x cap NTS, then here from the DM output binary 0 is transmitted, and in that case BNTS is minus delta. So from the previous sample it reduced the step size by an amount minus delta. So this is the logic of the delta modulation, and in that way we can generate a delta modulated waveform. Now the receiver circuit. The receiver circuit is just input and accumulator is needed. Actually this is the accumulator, a delayed signal. The signal is delayed by a bit interval Ts, and it goes to an ideal low pass filter. Then we can easily get the demodulated waveform. So this is all about delta modulator, transmitter and receiver. And then now I am telling you, is there any disadvantages? We know the advantages of delta modulation, that it transmits only 1 bit per sample. That means the bandwidth problem is not present here. So obviously the quantization noise signal is again can be reduced easily using PCM or delta modulation. Now tell me, is there any disadvantages? Yes, some disadvantages are present, which will be discussed in the next class. Okay, now I am ending. Thank you. I am ending the session, and the next day we discuss from the disadvantages of delta modulation. Okay, thank you.